of the video, which I'm going to call spirit. For some people, before anything happens to them, especially something that is as serious as death, there's usually a warning. There's usually some kind of signs. And in the case of Junior Pope, there were definitely signs that seemed to prophesy that some things were coming. One of the signs was the prophecy from the Ghanaian prophet in 2023. If you watch the video, you would see that the man was saying that Junior Pope was going to have an accident and it was coming from his family side.
Junior Pope to be one guy for the Nigerian movie industry where they do very well. But I want to send a message for cross-check a papa inside. Because the darkness on Junior Pope not take time out. Plus in family or one day bad news go fall for Nigeria, them go regret. Because the gods from the father's side, they make hot for it back. The gods from the father's side, they are throwing accident his way in the spiritual world.
Now, I'm not here to say whether it is true or not, but this was what was said, and obviously that's what has now happened. I'm sure that when the man said it, a lot of people were dragging him and saying that he's a mad person, that is he trying to cause somebody. But unfortunately, what he prophesied has actually come to pass, and it came to pass in some very accurate manner. The only part that is still hard to prove is the fact that he said that it is the paternal side of Junior Pope the curse came from. Another subtle warning that came to Junior Pope was a TikTok video whereby the algorithm was asking him who those games that you play now, and they'll be asking you when it was moving, it now got to that it was the enemies that were thinking about him. I'm sure that he would have, just laughed it off, but something in his soul would have just been like, which kind of rubbish game is this one? When it happened, he wouldn't have seen it as anything. But the funny thing is that he actually uploaded it on his TikTok page. But now, 2 days later, 3 days later, he now passes on. The third sign was the final video that he made on the boat, where he was telling the boat rider to be careful, that he's the only child and that he's going to live long enough to take care of his children.
I beg, no vex, yeah? Yeah, bros? Don't leave me there, bro, no vex. Nobody they laugh. Don't leave me there, bro, no. Don't leave me there, bro. I got 3 children, I be go raise them. I got 3 children, I be go raise them. Bros, I beg. Oh, Jesus, what is this? Bros, I beg, I beg. I beg. I got 3 children, I be go raise them. I beg, take a small. Don't like, this is a risk. Sweat Nation, see the risk we take.
This was actually the video that made the story and the mishap go viral, because anytime somebody talks about their death and they now actually die not long after, it has this poetic effect, and it triggers interest in the public and those that are interested in the story. And that's exactly what happened right now. Unfortunately, this is a very tragic story because his children are actually young and his wife has now become a widow. I can't even imagine what she's going through, But as I said, before anything happens, there are usually warnings. And if you go deeper, if you are close to Junior Pope, I believe that those signs would have presented themselves somehow. I feel like everybody has an intuition, a gut feeling that something was going to happen. That is why he was so afraid when he was on the boat and he was talking that he was going to live long, because I've heard that the guy is actually a good swimmer. But that's why he even went on the boat without a life jacket. But unfortunately, he did not survive it. Although it has become clear that he actually did survive it, but the negligence and the lack of common sense from the first responders actually may have cost him his life. But as I said, everybody has an intuition, and his intuition was telling him that something was wrong, but he could not articulate it. And that's how we now decided to go ahead. This whole intuition thing is something that is very common, because even me in my own life, I've experienced the power of intuition. My father died when I was 13-year-old, and that time I was in boarding house. I had always been a good student. I had never jumped fence. That is how one day in May, I just had this very strong feeling. I think I was in GS3 then. I just had this strong feeling to go and see my father. I had never felt like that in my life. All of a sudden, I just ran away from school, entered bus, By the time I got home, my father was like, what are you doing at home here? And I told him, I just felt like come to see you, that I miss you. And he's like, miss you, okay? Which kind of talk with that? We're going back to school tomorrow. Initially, he was upset, but after a time, he just let me stay at home, If that I came in the afternoon, he would have chased me back that particular afternoon, but I came in the night, so he now allowed me to stay. That is how the next morning, as he was taking me back to Bega, so I'll take a bus that will take me to my school in Ogun State. That's why he now told me that he was going to Jos, that he was going to take a flight to Jos, and that he was going to do some job in Jos, and the job was going to give him a lot of money, and that after that, he was going to come back to Lagos. And when he comes back to Lagos, he'll come and see me on Sunday, which was my visiting day in my boarding house. And that was the last time I saw him. The last time I saw him was in Bega here in Lagos, and I can never forget it. I was very sad when he passed, but something in my soul knew that it was going to happen. If he was very intuitive, he would have sensed that why would this boy just come all of a sudden to come and see him? But I won't say he ignored the warning, but he himself, he would have felt something, but he still went ahead and he passed on. This same thing of intuition happened, even my own girlfriend self has a similar story about her own father. She told me that her father was supposed to go for a wedding of his younger sister in the east, and as we were going, I think when they got there, as they were about to go for the wedding, somebody was now telling him that they should not go, that he had a bad dream. So he was trying to convince the person that it's fine, nothing will happen. That's how they entered the vehicle, and they had an accident and they passed on. And this type of things happen all the time. Before something serious happens, there's usually going to be signs, but most people will just try to rationalize it and say that everything will be okay, And the number one rationalization is that what they are going to do is very important. Like my father now, the reason why I was going there was so that they can get money, so that he can take care of me and himself. My girlfriend's father, the same thing. Junior Pope too. I'm sure he would have been feeling something. He knew that he shouldn't be on that boat. That's why he was sounding so afraid. But because of the need to get money so that he can take care of his wife, his children, himself, he would have just said that everything will be fine, everything will be fine. And unfortunately, it has ended in tragedy. So, short story, it's very important that we listen to our intuition. It's very important that we listen to our gut feelings and not disregard it, because if you disregard your intuition, your gut feeling, you can pay for it with your life.